Um, and hopefully you guys still got that. You can't even see this, can you? What's going on with my camera? Nice. Anyway, that card's going to help. I'll repost it. I'll put it in the, the lesson and the practice uh, on Google Classroom. Okay, because it's really going to help, especially when we're doing square roots, to know what the perfect squares are. And I don't think they threw in anything else. Yeah, just squares. It really does help to know your perfect squares. Okay, so now again, um, it says to solve. Hopefully, you watched the note, you did the notes and watched the video. You got the word solving. So we have an equal sign, which means we're going to have to get those variables by itself, right? Okay. So if we're going to square root something, we have to get that square root by itself, that term. Now this one's really easy. Um, so I think maybe I'll do 1a and 2. All right. So in order to get that v squared by itself, and if it helps, put a dotted line there because we're working with an equation. Let's get that term by itself. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. And I get my v squared equals 50 minus 7 is 43. Okay, now we're almost there. We got to get v by itself. We're almost there. How do we undo that power 2? Anybody know? Well, we take the square root of both sides. Okay, now in algebra, we do have to worry about the negative. Okay, in geometry, when you take the square root, you don't have to worry about the negative number because you're usually talking distance. So that square root, so we got to worry about the plus and minus, the negative, both the positive and negative number square root 43. So that's going to cancel out that power 2. So I get v equals plus or minus the square root of 43. Now, 43 is a prime number. And this is what I'm going to hate about remote learning using the Delta Math or quizzes. You're going to have, if this is a prime number, so you don't have to worry about simplifying the radical. But if I had the square root of 49, suppose this was this came out as, this is my answer for this problem. Suppose my answer came out with plus or minus, let's do a better one. Let's do square root of 18. You would have to simplify that for the app. And to do that, you have to, because we're dealing with square root, you have to come up with the largest factor of 18, or the largest number that divides into 18 that's a perfect square. And that's 9, okay, 3 squared. And the other factor then is 2. So this becomes square root of 9 times the square root of 2. Then you have to take that and be 3 square root of 2. So your answer would have been plus or minus. And you would have had to put that into Delta Math or maybe quizzes if that was one of your choices, and this was not. So it's kind of a pain in the butt, almost, but it's unfortunately it's remote learning. Now, if you have a TI-30, if you're fortunate enough to have one of those really, really cheap calculators, I think they're $8 or $9. It actually simplifies radicals like this for you. On the SATs, they don't. But those you can't use those calculators on the SATs. So otherwise, you're going to have to simplify all radicals. Okay. Let's hit number 2 real quick. Now, it looks like on number 2, it looks like, hey, I have the term by itself. I could just take the square root of both sides. Well, not really. You have the term by itself, but you still have a mathematical operation going on. You have 4 times the square root of 2, not the square root, 4 times n squared. So to get rid of that mathematical operation, you have to divide by 4 both sides. Okay, that gives me n squared equals 64 divided by 4. Well, let's see, there's 1, 24, so 16. Take the square root of both sides to get rid of the power 2. And when I do that to this side, I have to add a plus or minus. Square root cancels out the power 2. So I get n equals plus or minus square root of 16. Now, do not put this in Delta Math or look for it in quizzes. I don't know if quizzes would do this or not. You actually, 16, you have to simplify. It's actually a perfect square. Okay. So this, you can take the square root of 16, and that is 4. It's 4 squared. So this is what you would have to put in Delta Math. And that's square rooting. Any questions, comments, concerns?